Hello everybody, welcome today to another daily Bible reading and with commentary. We're going to be looking at Matthew chapter 8 today, and we're going to be starting with verse 1. The cleansing of the leper. When he, Jesus, came down from the mountains, large crowds followed him. And then a leper came and worshipped him, saying, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched him, saying, "I will, be clean." And immediately his leprosy was cleansed. Then Jesus said to him, "See that you tell no one, but go your way, show yourselves to the priest, and offer the gift that Moses commanded as a testimony to them." Now I just want to stop there for a moment. How I apply this to my life is that if someone was to pray for me and I had a serious illness, like in this case leprosy, very serious, I'm not talking about being prayed for aches and pains and minor maladies, but if you're getting prayed for something serious such as cancer, a very serious disease that a doctor needs to test you and check you over with, we should do just like what Jesus told the leper to do, to go and see the priest, or in our case the doctor, and have our healing verified. Okay, I would encourage you, if you get prayed for something very serious, life-threatening disease, illness, or life-limiting illness, don't just assume that you're healed just because somebody's prayed for you. I mean, what you want to do first of all is look for evidence that you can do something you couldn't do before. But some illnesses and diseases, such as cancer and that, you can't possibly really tell whether you've been healed or not. You may feel a bit better, but then that could be a spike in the dopamine, you know. So we need to go and see the doctor, get him to check us over and verify it, because many times when miracles are mentioned and healings are mentioned in church, they get discredited because it never happened. Okay, it does happen, and I've prayed for people who have been healed, but I always tell a person to go and see the doctor, see their specialist, and to have their healing verified. And that way God will be glorified and the testimony will be in stone. So let's do what the leper done and go to see the priest. Okay, just a little side one there. The healing of a centurion servant. And when Jesus entered Capernaum, a centurion came to him, entreating him and saying, "Lord, my servant is lying at home, sick with paralysis, terribly tormented." Jesus said to him, "I will come and heal him." The centurion answered and said, "Lord, I'm not worthy that you should come under my roof, but speak the word only, and my servant will be healed. For I am a man under authority, having soldiers under me. And I say to this man, go, and he goes, and to another, come, and he comes. And to my servant, do this, and he does it." When Jesus heard it, he was amazed, and said to those he followed, "Truly I say to you, I have not found such great faith, no, not in Israel. And I say to you that many will come from the east and the west, and will dine with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the kingdom of heaven. But the sons of the kingdom will be thrown out into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go your way, and as you have believed, so let it be done for you." And his servant was healed that very moment. Or from that moment, as the King James says. The healing began to come to pass and was healed from the moment that Jesus said it. The healing of many people. When Jesus entered Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother lying sick with a fever. He touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and served them. When the evening come, they brought to him many who were possessed with demons, and he cast out the spirits with his word, and healed all who were sick, to fulfill what was spoken by Isaiah the prophet. He himself took our infirmities and bore our sicknesses. Now this is interesting here, because we often, as Christians, and as I've done in times past, have said, you know, "Lord, I pray for my healing, and you took my infirmities and bare my sicknesses," and so forth. But this verse here was speaking of the fulfillment of Jesus in his earthly ministry, when he's walking the earth and healed these particular people in this particular situation. Okay, it says, all these people that came to him that evening, who were prayed for, were healed of sicknesses and diseases and so forth, and had devils cast out of them. And it says to fulfill what was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, he himself took our infirmities and bore our sicknesses. So it's referring to that time when Jesus done that. That prophecy was fulfilled through the earthly ministry of Jesus when he healed the sick. The would-be followers of Jesus, verse 16, or was it 18? 18. Now when Jesus saw large crowds around him, he gave a command to depart to the other side, or to leave and go to the other side. Then a certain scribe came to him. Now scribes were those who would write down the scriptures and so forth. Then a certain scribe came to him and said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." Jesus replied, "The foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." Another of his other disciples said to him, "Lord, let me first go and bury my father." But Jesus said to him, "Follow me, and let the dead bury their dead." Then he entered a boat, and his disciples followed him. Suddenly a great storm arose on the sea, so that the boat was covered with waves. But he was asleep. His disciples went to him and awoke him, saying, "Lord, save us, we're perishing." He replied, "Why are you fearful, O you of little faith?" Then he rose and rebuked, or commanded the winds and the sea to be calm, and there was a great calm. The men were amazed, saying, "What kind of man is this, that even the winds and the sea obey him?" When he came to the other side into the country of the Gergesenes, there met him 2 men possessed with demons, coming out of the tombs, extremely fierce, so that no one might pass by that way. Suddenly they cried out, saying, "What have we to do with you, Jesus, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time?" Now a good way off from them was a herd of many swine feeding. So the demons begged him, saying, "If you cast us out, permit us to go away into the herd of the swine." And he said to them, "Go." And when they come out, they went into the herd of swine. And suddenly the whole herd of swine ran violently down a steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. Those who kept them fled, and went their ways into the city, and told everything, including what had happened to those possessed by the demons. The whole city came out to meet Jesus, and when they saw him, they begged him to depart out of their regions. So they didn't want Jesus to stick around. You know, they weren't concerned about these possessed men who had been tormented, spent their days and nights in torment and suffering and, you know, mental affliction, spiritual affliction. These people wanted Jesus to get out of the area because he done away with their bacon trade, basically. You know, their pigs went for a swim. It's interesting that the demons are always scared and afraid of Jesus when he would appear on the scene. They would respond, they would react. They didn't just sort of stand there calmly and not respond. Just a little side thought on deliverance. Sometimes when we pray for a person, they may manifest, as we call it, when they may start acting a bit bizarre and a bit strange. Now, that's got nothing to do with the behaviour of the preacher or the minister praying for them, okay? The way these demon-possessed men acted, Jesus didn't make them act like that. It was a result of who Jesus was, his authority, his power, the threat that he posed towards them, his power. And sometimes if we're in a situation we're praying for people who have got demonic problems, if they start acting crazy, you didn't make them act crazy. They're responding to the authority in Christ in us. They're responding to the presence of God around us. And sometimes we do see, especially some churches that are a bit anti-deliverance kind of thing, if that can even be a real thing. And they're like, "Oh, that isn't right. That pastor, that minister prayed for that person. That person was wriggling around on the floor and screaming and everything else." Well, did the pastor tell him to do that? Did he say go and wriggle on the floor? If he did, then it needs to be told off. But if he didn't, then whose fault is that? You know? In some cases, a person may be possessed. In other cases, the person may be mentally ill. Some people just attention seekers. They'll throw themselves on the floor and put on a show, which I've seen. I've seen in many meetings I've been to the different kinds of reaction. I've seen the real, where people have been delivered of demonic affliction, and sometimes without much fanfare, to be honest. And then I've seen some people who are mentally ill or something, or a dramatic, and they respond. They respond in a way you think, wow, that was a bit, perhaps a little bit over the top, but we have to be careful when praying for people. We have to be considerate that a person may be mentally ill. They may have, personality. It may be their personality, or they may even be autistic. So we need to make sure that we don't rebuke people if they tend to act a bit extra. Okay. So we just looking back briefly over this chapter. There's a lot about healing here. There's a lot about Jesus healing the sick. Jesus commending the centurion servant, the centurion on his faith. He said Jesus didn't even have to go to his house. He just had to say the word and he'd be healed. And Jesus said, I haven't found this faith. This kind of faith I have not found in all of Israel. That was the kind of faith that pleased God. Just finally, one thing you will see is that when Jesus healed people, they were healed there and then, or over time, but their healings were verified. Okay, and I would encourage you, if you're being prayed for and be healed, then you should see results forthcoming. You should see a change, like biblically, is within the hour. Okay, so I would go as far as to say I would expect to see some difference within the hour. Jesus never taught people to say. He never said to people, "I'm going to pray for you, and you got to believe for your healing, and you've got to, wait for you've got to confess it." You know what I mean? You got to keep saying it until it happens. You got to manifest it, and that's not right. That Jesus never said such a thing. The disciples, the apostles, never said, when you get prayed for, keep confessing that you're healed until it manifests. Keep quoting the Bible. They didn't say such a thing. They just prayed for the sick. They got healed. They got healed. If they didn't, they didn't. And it was as simple as that. Anyway, God bless you all. Have a great day. I'll be back for chapter 9. Hope that the reading would have blessed you, but I hope that any commentary there would have helped you. And if you've got any questions, just leave it on my comments. Please subscribe to my channel, and have a great day in Jesus' mighty name. Bye-bye.